Well, election season is here. We're just a few weeks away from the November 4th election, and today we focus on a race that's gathering a lot of national attention as well as a lot of national money. We're talking, of course, about the fight for the U.S. Senate, and joining us to talk about his race against Republican candidate Monica Webby is our incumbent Senator Jeff Merkley. Senator, thank you so much for being here this morning.
You're welcome. It's great to be with you.
As you travel the state, and I know you've talked to thousands of voters, you've probably been to dozens, if not hundreds of little towns, what are you hearing from the residents of Oregon, and what's the #1 problem on their mind, and what can you do about it?
Well, the #1 concern is living wage jobs. And what we can do is we can invest in infrastructure. It creates good jobs today, and it creates a great economy in the future. And if there's #2 concern, I'd say it's the high cost of higher education and the fact that low interest rates need to be preserved or obtained so that we count higher education as an investment, a public investment in our children and the success of our future economy.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to show you a video that's been playing, was run by a special interest group in the state. Can we show the video?
We deserve leaders who work just as hard for us. But Senator Jeff Merkley? In 6 years, Merkley wrote only one bill that became law. Just one. He promised to fix Obama.
Last week, Senator McCain was here stumping for your opponent, and he said that you have not shown any leadership on any issue that he's aware of. Is that true? Are you working hard in Washington for the people of Oregon?
Well, I think Senator McCain is suffering from a little bit of amnesia. The fact is, I've taken on leadership to end our war in Afghanistan. Senator McCain was on the opposite side of that bill. He's very irritated about it because he wants to see our troops perpetually in Afghanistan. In fact, every problem he sees in the world, he sees as a reason to put troops on the ground. So we're in direct opposition. And the fact is, I took on Wall Street and passed the bill which says that our big banks can no longer be taxpayer-subsidized hedge funds making big bets that destabilize our economy. And I took on the banks also under the predatory mortgages. These are the teaser rate mortgages that were like little bombs ready to go off after 2 years when the interest rates went from 4% to 9%. I've helped restore the mortgages to be a powerful force for wealth building for the middle class rather than wealth stripping. And that's just the beginning. There's so many bills I've partnered with Republicans on that help people right here at home, ranging from taking on the problem our farmers had to get their farm produce to market across state lines, to fighting to secure the money to dredge our harbors on the coast. And I know you don't have much time, but there's a lot of pieces that I've been able to accomplish.
Okay, let me show you another ad that's been running across the state.
Congress, they're different. They run out of money, they borrow more. Senator Merkley voted 6 times to raise the debt limit against balancing our budget.
Now, I understand that the debt limit and the budget aren't quite the same thing, but the fact is, since you've been senator, the deficit has exploded. We've gone somewhere between 10 trillion, now we're approaching 17 trillion. I think a lot of people in Oregon want to know, why can't Washington spend within its means? Why are we running these crazy budget deficits on a yearly basis? So,
and this lead is extraordinarily misleading. This is the Koch brothers. These are out-of-state oil and coal billionaires who are here investing to elect my opponent because she supports their agenda. And what is their agenda? It's to gut the Clean Air Act to allow our coal-fired power plants to pollute a lot more. It's to reduce the tax structure so that it's cheaper and easier to ship our jobs overseas, and it's certainly to give tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans, multimillionaires and billionaires, and they want to lock it in constitutionally so it can't be eliminated.
But what does that have to do with the deficit?
Well, here's the thing. Their agenda would actually increase the deficit by $700 billion over the next 10 years. Meanwhile, over the last 5 years, we have cut the deficit to 1/3 of what it was 5 years ago. And if the Republicans had not blocked shutting down these egregious tax giveaway to the oil companies and to the powerful special interests, we would have been able to go a lot further faster. So the very folks who are writing these advertisements are the folks who are engaged in really causing the problem or the deficit.
Okay, I want to bring up a poll that was done by the Associated Press at the end of last year. It said, according to likely voters, 93% said they disapprove of Congress and the job it's doing. 93%, that's got to be an all-time low. What is it about Washington that doesn't allow it to solve problems?
Yes, 93% know that Congress is broken, And you have to wonder what's wrong with the other 7%. Because doesn't everyone know that the Senate is broken, the House is broken? That's why I'm leading the fight in the Senate to fix the piracy. This is the abuse of the filibuster, which literally does mean piracy. It's being used by powerful special interests to veto legislation that gives a fair chance, a fair shot to working Americans, whether it's investing in infrastructure, whether it's lowering the interest rate on student loans, whether it's enabling our 500,000 Oregonians to refinance their high interest loans to a lower rate and take advantage of today's low interest rate. We've got this cabal on the right that is vetoing all this legislation, not letting it get to a final vote. That's why it's broken. And that's why I'm leading this fight. And I did have a major victory this last year in November of last year, a year ago, and it was to lower the way that nominations are done from a supermajority to a simple majority, and the result is we were able to vote on executive branch nominees. We were able to double the pace of voting on judges because a small group in the Senate has been using the filibuster to basically paralyze the other two branches of government.
Okay.
And that's not the constitutional vision. That's constitutional vision, co-equal branches. I'm fighting to restore that.
I understand. Thank you, Senator. And Republican U.S. Senate candidate, incumbent Senator Jeff Merkley, thank you so much for joining us. Or Democrat. Did I call you a Republican? I'm so sorry, sir.
That's all right. I'll live.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay.